Hi, my name is Ian Hoffman. I feel insane about being Tom Else's friend.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Johngy or Else podcast. I, of course, am who else but Tommy Elson. With me, as always, is the man on the beat coming to us from Skokie, Illinois, in his Johngy or Else podcast t-shirt, Mr. Jonathan Ortega Robleski.
Now you're serving me up. I'm not going to take the bait.
How you doing, buddy?
Well, I would say I'm just a shell of myself, but I'm not going to take the bait.
It's a little foreshadowing for our next episode. So that aside, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling.
It's been a snowy, cold, wintry day here in
Chicago.
It's
been a long day. I'm tired, but I'm excited about our guest.
Yeah, so I brought him in here. I'll give him the intro here. So this guy here is one of my oldest, longest friends. All right. I don't know I don't know if that sounds right. He's one of my oldest friends. He's I'm sure he's long in his own ways.
Oh, we don't need to know that. Although I'm sure he's proud now.
No, but he is one of my ride or die friends. I mean, when things are going rough, he's the one I call. When things are going rough for him, I'm the one he calls. When I'm just having a good time and need somebody to talk to, I talk to him. If I'm going through a rough time, I talk to him. We spend a lot of time together. He's at my place usually at least once a week, if not more. He is Lily's, my cat Lily. He is absolutely her favorite person next to me. Can't get enough of him. We have known each other since we met each other in junior high, but truly became friends in high school. And he's been a very big inspiration to me in a lot of ways, and also just an incredibly good friend and somebody who has been there for me through thick and thin. And told me, the hard truths when I needed to hear it, and been there for me in ways that, only a real true friend can be. I mean, I can't put into words enough what a great person he's been to me in my life. We've had our ups and downs, but the ups far outweigh all the downs,
But that's what makes it a good friendship,
Right. Sometimes
you work through stuff.
You're right, exactly. Sometimes you need the adversity, and we've had that, but we've come out the other end of it, better people and better friends for it. We've been a part of a lot of things together, and we've done a lot of creative things together. And he's someone who has inspired me creatively very, very much. And so he's someone who I've wanted to kind of bring to the attention of the world. And as we're kind of closing in on episode 50 here, I thought, let's, have our last guest of this first 50 at least, be something a little upbeat, a little more fun, and just kind of shake loose a little bit. So with all of that said, allow me to introduce to you one of my closest friends in the entire world, and someone I love very dearly as a brother, Mr. Ian Hoffman. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my very good friend, one of my oldest friends, one of my closest friends in the entire world. I love him with all of my heart. I trust him with everything in my world. His name is Mr. Ian Hoffman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Nice
It's been a long time coming.
Thank you for coming. Yeah. Now, you and John have met before. John, if you recall, there was the show where we had that girl Tien.
Yeah.
She was in the whole outfit and everything. she was friends with Ian, and so Ian was there before.
We were
So
dating at the time. Yeah.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah, I do
So
remember you. You're
there
right.
you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to get into the inside baseball too much there, but
I
yeah,
just let it out of the bag. Yeah.
yeah.
Hearts
But
were broken,
yes.
and
Way to go, Tommy. Starting the show off with a bang.
no, I did it. Yeah, no, I was the heartbreaker. No, I'm just kidding.
So you have crossed paths, but I know it was for like
Yeah.
one time or whatever. So
Yeah.
Well, good to see you again, man.
yeah, man,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
great
absolutely. Yeah, it is great to see
thank
you.
you for being on here. And so we have a lot to cover, so I'm going to dive right into some things here. So
Yeah.
I want to talk first about kind of the genesis of us being friends. So we both
Mhm.
went to the same middle school. We were aware of each other, but never really like in middle school they had three different what they called like pods
Yeah.
or groups. So like in seventh grade there was like the Lynx and the Panthers and the some other cat, I don't know, the
It
Badgers
was
or
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not that's
yeah,
not a
another
cat.
cat as
Yeah,
a
that's not a
badger. Yeah,
cat,
A
but
badger's not a cat. No.
yeah, the very one of the more ferocious.
yeah.
Actually, I heard
The old
badgers
badger
are.
cat.
Yeah, yeah.
whatever the hell it was. But
Jaguar?
Ian and I were on separate.
Jaguar, I think. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was
yeah,
gonna
that
say.
might
I
be
think it
it.
was
Actually,
Jaguar.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. So Ian and I were like on separate cat teams or whatever and the thing.
yeah,
So, but like I knew of them, but like we never really had any reason to interact or anything like that. And somewhere,
right.
and I was thinking about this earlier today. I can't pinpoint exactly when and how we like really intersected. And I don't know that you can, but like I have a very hard time figuring out like where it was where you and I were like, we need to hang out and like
Yeah,
outside of school and stuff like that. That's a tough one for me to figure out. It just seemed something organic that became what it was. And in high school, one of the things Ian and I used to do a lot was, especially once I got my driver's license, I would like say, let's say it's Wednesday night or whatever, I would go and I'd get in my Chevy Blazer, my
yeah,
88 Chevy Blazer, drive over to his place, park halfway down the block at about 11:30 at night. And then I would kick my seat back and just kind of like almost take a nap while I waited because his mother went to midnight mass like at 12 o'clock and whatever. So we were waiting for her to leave. And then once she left, Ian would come running out to the car and he'd get in. And
yeah,
then Ian and I would just go to, I mean, just like a public park or something like that. And we would just walk
yeah,
around and talk and hang out. I mean, like we were doing nothing illicit. We weren't doing anything
yeah.
bad. The worst we ever did was when we were finally 18, I think we got some Swisher Sweets, and
Yeah,
like with
that
some
was us
smoking.
living on the edge.
Yeah. I mean, like that was the extent of our, bad boy,
So why
thing.
did you have to wait till the mom left? What am I missing?
It's school
Well,
night,
yeah,
Oh,
it's a
okay.
school
heading out
night,
at midnight,
right, and the thing was is that we stayed out. And I was thinking about this today too. I was like, I think I can only think of one class we ever had together. I mean, I think psych was the only one we ever had. Did we ever have any?
Parducci.
Yeah, Mr. Parducci. And the problem
Yeah,
was is that Ian and I would stay out until 5 a.m, you
Oh,
know and then go
it
home.
was
i
rough.
would i would go home, take a shower, and then go to school. But psych was like the first period class of the day.
Yeah,
So, and then Ian and I, our seats were like right next to each other, so it's literally both of us like
yeah,
conked
slumped
out,
over.
with our heads on the desk. And like at the end of the and Parducci, our teacher, would just let us sleep through the class, and then at the end he would like bang on the table and be like, hey,
Yeah.
what's the answer to this? And we're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, I
right. He
don't
hit
know,
us
I
with
don't
that
know."
one
Yeah.
question. Yeah, yeah. And he'd
It
be
was bad.
like, you fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not
Yeah.
do well in psych, but
No,
yeah,
and neither
somewhere
did
in
I.
there Ian and I became good friends. And somewhere along the way, um it wasn't just Ian and I, but a bunch of other guys who I was friends with started trying to do like home movies and making movies and things like
Mhm.
that. And so I had put together an idea for a vampire movie because at the time I was obsessed with the movie From Dusk Till Dawn. And I wanted to do something vampire related. Now I'm 16, 17 years old around this time or something like that. and Ian and I get to be very, very close friends. And so I'm just like, so the premise of the thing, and you would never understand this if you watched it. It's it's I'm not even gonna say what I think. It's it's one of those movies where, like, if you watched it, you would still not understand what the story was. But the story was that I played a guy named Namrock, who was a vampire, and about 1,000 years ago was laid to rest or put in a spell of some sort that kept me from thriving for 1,000 years. And then 1,000 years later, I finally awake in in 1997 or something, I guess. And
Conveniently, the year we made it
that
in.
we were
Yeah.
in, yes.
Yeah.
And the ancestor of the guy who had laid me to rest was alive, and just happens to realize his legacy in this whole thing at the same time that I come about returning from the dead. And
Well, within minutes of it
yeah, I mean,
happening.
it's
It was very
well,
convenient.
we were short on time. We were short on time, so we had to make it work.
Yeah.
Ian played my, who I eventually. So now I was also very inspired by Vampire in Brooklyn, and in that one, Chris Rock was turned into a zombie and became a subservient of Eddie Murphy as the vampire in that movie. And
May I just interject? You're probably
Please.
the only person in history to say I was very inspired by Vampire in Brooklyn. I don't think anyone else will ever make that statement.
It's a great movie, and I highly
I'm not
recommend
saying
it.
it isn't.
I
I'm just
mean, people
saying
should check that shit out. But I mean, it
doubt
was,
many
I
people-
mean, like that was in my
It's
mind.
a good movie. I agree.
That's where I got that idea from. I was like, I need like a guy who's like
Right.
my second in command, and so I decided to make
Right,
Ian
yeah.
that guy, and his name was Craplock. So
Yeah.
we had Namrock
you.
and Craplock. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there are worse premises.
Well,
Yeah. No, it was good.
Yeah,
It was a good.
yeah.
I liked it.
I
I made us watch it. What, 6 months ago, Tom?
Yeah.
I was like, let's bring it out. Let's
It
let's
still
watch it.
exists. Why have I not seen this?
Oh,
you-
yeah,
you should watch it.
John
You should
has
watch
not
it.
seen it, and I
Oh yeah,
knew.
you gotta watch it.
So now, John, before you freak out here, okay, just take a breath and know that. All right, wait a second, Ian. What did you just take a sip of?
This seltzer water.
Back at you, buddy. Right here.
Hey, cheers.
Flavorless seltzer water.
Wow, we will.
We'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah, we will.
But anyway, no, John, I knew that this was going to come up at some point, and so we're going to have an episode where you come over and I will show you this movie. Unfortunately, we cannot put it on YouTube because the music in it, the licensing would cost us thousands of dollars.
More than that. That's a little out of your budget.
It's not. It can't. I think it might exist on Vimeo still, but I have to look and see because I was able to get away with putting it up there. But I have to find out. If I do, and I can link it to this episode, I will. That being said, at some point we'll have to sit down and watch it, but I am in no way advocating that this is in any way a good movie, and I don't think that Ian would either. It's just
it's a fun movie.
I got so many questions.
It's a fun movie.
How long is it? How many other people are in it? Where was it filmed?
There are like probably 40 people in this movie, to be honest with you.
With their own knowledge, or
with you? No. Like I mean, like, because as
they are knowledgeable of it,
as we were doing it, more people were like realizing that we were doing it, and then they wanted in on it, and we made moments and parts for people. We have a guy who does nothing but walk down a hallway at one point, get into it because he just wanted to be in the movie.
Is that Romel?
Romel, yes.
That was great.
Romel walks down the hall, and we play the Imperial March from Star Wars, and that's just a clip in the movie, and it has nothing to do with anything whatsoever. It's a very like if I would honestly, a great contest would be to send this thing out somehow and let people try to tell me what the story is, and the person who gets the closest to it wins something, because
Yeah,
it's
but
just,
you've already told people now. How do you do that?
well, no, you get that part of it, but there's still more to it than that, but
How long
not
is it?
not a lot. I don't know, what, 35 minutes?
Yeah,
I
if
mean,
even. Yeah,
if
probably. Yeah,
even
that sounds about right.
30
35 minutes.
35
Yeah,
minutes. Yeah,
30,
it's not
something
it's
like
not a
that.
long production by any means. But it's called Smut Wars: The Vampire Strikes Back, and it's not good. It's not good. But
Well, no,
but
we
but
got to see
now
it.
but so now
Oh, you
the
gotta
reason
watch it.
the
Yeah.
reason I bring this up, though, is because what spawned out of this was what we ended up calling Regal Beagle Productions. Okay, so I figured we had done one movie. I wanted to do others, and I wanted to do other things. So we started working on a few other movies. One was going to be a false autobiography about our guest here today, Mr. Ian Hoffman, called Call Me Joey, the Ian Hoffman story. We also had a golf course horror movie called Terror
Yeah.
on the Ninth, which was written by a mutual friend of ours, Kevin Goss. And it was, we had a full script for this movie, which
Yeah,
is more
that
than
was fully scripted and
which is
scored.
and
Ironically, scored ahead of time,
scored
which
by Mr.
usually,
Ian Hoffman. Yes.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and honestly, had we had more means at our disposal at the time, it probably would not have been that bad. The
Yeah.
story is not the worst thing in the world as far as
No,
horror
it's
movies
good.
goes, and it was a very classic horror movie type of style to the whole thing.
Yeah.
But both Ian and our friend Kevin were working at a golf course, and we're both very familiar with like classic horror movies and stuff. So Kevin really put together a solid script for the whole thing. We filmed
It was
some
good.
of it, and the stuff that we filmed was really good, but for whatever reason we never got to finish it. In the course of this, we also developed the Regal Beagle newsletter, and we put that thing out. So we put out, like, the first one was just like literally like it looked like it was typed on a typewriter, like it was 3 pages, and it was like, hey, this is the Regal Beagle newsletter, and here's the stuff we're working on right now and everything. And people were kind of into it. And then the next thing, we got a guy come on, and he's more into graphic design and can make it look a lot cooler and stuff. So then we started adding a few things, and then I think the second one is when we started we had a classmate of ours who we made like a paper doll cutout, and you could like put different outfits on them. We had
Joe
a cross
Landgrave. Yeah,
yes,
right.
we had a crossword puzzle. Things like that. And that second one just was like flying off the shelves. We got
Yeah,
rid of easily
hit big.
over 100. So then we get to like the third one. That one we gave out over 300 of them, and we're just
Wow.
giving them out for free. It just
Still.
I was what I did was I'd go to my dad's office, which I had a key to, and he had a he had a Xerox machine, and I just sat there at night and I just printed out all these things, and then I'd go home and I'd fold them and staple them and all that, and I'd give like so many to Ian and so many to our other friend who was the graphic designer, John. And like I remember by the fourth one we had to have had at least 300 of them, and before first hour even started we
Oh
were
yeah,
all we were all
people
out.
they
We
were
were all
going
out.
crazy to get them. Yeah, it
And
was
we
a huge
even
thing.
at some point, the school newspaper people came to us and asked
Oh,
us to stop because we were
Wow.
basically beating them in the ratings. It was
Oh,
like
that's hilarious.
nobody cared about the school newspaper. They only wanted
yeah.
to read the Regal Beagle newsletter.
So did you
Yeah.
stop?
No, we said fuck you.
Yeah.
We said make a better paper then.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
yeah,
We're the
it's up to
National Enquirer,
right.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
like,
we're the gossip column.
and we did things where like like we took like one of the science teachers, and we had heard legitimately that he had like a kegger at his place and had a bunch
Right.
of the teachers over and everything. So, I mean, it was a legit story. We weren't like making it up.
Yeah.
And we put it in there. And like, and you would think for sure, like everybody was just like, you guys are fucking nailed. Like they're going to kick your ass for this one.
Right.
Nobody ever said shit. Am I wrong?
No.
No, never
No,
heard anything about it.
it's correct.
And on
No.
top of it, the people who were in the article and other teachers in the school loved it. They were
Yeah.
asking us if we like when's the next one coming out? Am I wrong?
Right. No, it was great because first of all, we weren't saying it like, oh, they were having a kegger. We were like, isn't this awesome? You know,
Yeah, it was more like
you know,
just,
hot
yeah.
off the press, you know,
Yeah.
our teachers are partying together. Isn't that awesome? You know, we were like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know, take that, Glenvardy's newspaper, try to get that hot scoop. You know, we did. You
Right.
know, and yeah, and in fact, we weren't even like against the Glenvardy's newspaper.
No,
we
we never.
We were doing our.
I
own
never
thing.
even
They just
thought
didn't
about.
want
I
us
never
to
even
do
thought
ours,
about them until they came up to
No,
us,
until-
and they
yeah,
were just
they-
like, I like four of them like cornering me in the hall.
Yeah.
It's like four 4-foot nerds like cornering you in the hall saying, don't do this anymore.
Yeah.
You
I'm
guys
just
are
like,
too cool.
I'm just like,
yeah,
dude,
right,
I'm like,
exactly. Yeah.
what do
you're
you want me
you're
to?
doing too
What do
good.
you want me to do? I'm like, just hey, if you have a better paper, people will fucking go and listen to that, So
Yeah.
so all right, moving on. I'm trying to like speed through a whole lot of stuff here, but
Yeah.
so we do that. We work on some other projects and stuff, some that have not been publicly released but are classics.
Yes.
And we won't get into any
Some
more.
will never be released.
Yes,
And are classics. Yes.
Maybe John, maybe I'll show you in private, but I can't talk about them publicly.
You clear that with me first. Yeah.
Yes,
well,
it's well,
that's like turning the keys at the same time.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
we
like the only
gotta-
way that missile's gonna launch is we have to
Yeah.
both agree on it for sure. But so so in the course of all this, we become good friends and everything. And one of my favorite memories, and one that we just kind of revisited recently, is that in our junior year we went to prom with our dates together and everything. Now, I was driving that 88 Chevy Blazer, and we had gone to prom, and then we had dinner reservations at a place. What the hell was that place called? Do you remember?
It was the place that it was always kind of like
It was
the
on
one
North
everyone went to.
Avenue.
North Avenue and Villa Park, correct? Maybe
Yeah,
Villa Park.
I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't the
God,
Lodge, but it was something.
It was something
else.
like that. It was like
Something
the
like
Glen
that.
Air or something. Yeah,
Right. It was some
Or no, you're
place
right.
in-
It was like the Villa or something.
Right, exactly. And
The
so
Meadows,
we
yeah.
we had done the whole dance thing, and we had our dates in the car, and we're ready to go.
I had my
And-
powder blue tux. Remember?
Yes,
I
Ian had a powder blue tux. He
I
absolutely
really
did.
wanted a powder blue tux for some reason.
Yes. Well, I think at the time you were very inspired by Beck in the New
Yes.
Pollution video.
Yeah,
and
I
think
really
that's-
wanted-
I think that
I
was
thought-
kind of the thing. That's where we were at. It's like mid to late 90s and stuff. So
Yep.
so we're headed on our way there, and we're driving, and the front axle on my car literally shears in half
Oh.
while we're driving. So it's not, this isn't just a flat tire. I mean, the axle has broken in half. And I somehow am able to maneuver us off of the road and into the parking lot of a 7-Eleven. And I'll get you the picture of this so you can post it in the video here. But so Ian and I think this is hysterical.
Yeah, we're loving it.
We're laughing. Our dates are not happy. Now,
No.
my date
I would
was
think.
my date was a little more affable about the whole thing, but Ian's date was a little more
No,
pissed
she
off
was
that-
not happy
because we were supposed to make it to this place. I mean,
she
this
was
place,
one mad cheerleader.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then I've recently, as I've gone through some of my stuff, I found a photo where we took of just Ian and I right next to the broken wheel, just like giving it the
Posing,
thumbs up.
like,
yeah,
"Ha ha,"
posing with
yeah,
the
yeah.
broken wheel, like, isn't
Like,
this
as
funny?
that was
And
worth the
she
picture.
just was, yeah, unbelievable.
Oh yeah. Oh, I heard
Um,
about that for a long time after
yeah.
that.
Following that, now I'm what I'm doing here is I'm trying to catch up to where Johngy comes in. So just bear with me here, okay?
That's
Sure.
like 20 years.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah. We.
I know. Okay. But I got it.
How
I
much
got it.
time you got, John? Yeah.
All right.
Got all night,
So,
man.
so fast forward, we get out of high school. We've been working different jobs. We're in different situations and stuff. And then Ian and I get to end up working together. As Ian had originally been working for a carpet cleaning company, and I was looking for work, and so he was able to bring me on basically as his assistant. And
Yeah.
but it meant he and I got to spend every day in a
Yeah.
truck together and just
Monday
hang
through
out,
Saturday. Yeah.
And yeah, Monday through Saturday. Saturdays are a little shorter.
Well, yeah. Bit of a half
Little
day. Yeah.
little bit, not enough,
Little
but
bit. Yeah. Exactly.
uh but yeah, we were carpet cleaners, and I mean, like, that's a big test of a friendship when you have to spend that much time
Yeah.
in close quarters with one another. And you know what,
Yeah.
we did really well, I think,
Yeah.
because
We did.
we had a lot of fun. We took the shittiest days and tried to make them as good as we could.
Yeah.
And at that particular point in our lives, both of us had a lot of things that we were going through in our personal lives, very different from one another, but
Yeah.
equally
Absolutely.
difficult, and still had a good time doing it. And so I was
Yeah.
telling one of my it's like it's funny because I mean, most people treat you like crap. I mean, they just do.
Yeah.
And then there's people who they're the ones who, like, will stand in the room and watch you, and
Yeah.
it's like you might be there for 2.5 hours because you've got carpets and upholstery to do. And then you've got people who are being like, well, you're gonna wear booties or take your shoes off or something when you come in, right? And it's like, well, we're the carpet cleaners.
Yeah.
We
We're
start
here.
we start in the back of the house and work our way out, so I mean,
Back off. Right. Yeah.
yeah. But like when they're standing there and
Right.
staring at you, it just makes the whole thing go longer and
Yeah.
everything. But I was telling one of my clients today, because I was thinking about tonight and doing this episode, how there was one in particular situation where we get to this one house and it's a little later in the afternoon, but we're a little worn out, but we got like one more house. We get there, door opens up, and it's this girl, and
Oh, yeah. Of course. I remember this.
she is just a knockout, just an
Yeah.
absolute knockout. And I mean, like, we literally both stood there in silence for what's felt. I mean, I don't know how much time actually passed, but it felt like 30 seconds of us just sitting there staring there. And then finally I got the words out of my mouth. We're here to clean the carpets.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, come on in, I mean, like, as we're
Yeah,
standing
we
there
were
with like a
idiots.
pole and some
Yeah, we
carpet
were
cleaning truck. I mean,
dumbasses,
like, it
yeah.
was hoses over our arms,
Hi, you're pretty.
but
Yeah,
I'm just
right.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
Smooth.
So yeah, it was pretty funny. So, but we
Very
had
smooth, yeah.
we could do a whole episode on everything that we went through as carpet cleaners. But so now, shortly after that, Ian ends up taking off and going off to Brooklyn, where his brother works and lives, who's also a very accomplished musician and does engineering and producing. Am I putting too much
Yeah,
on
yeah,
there?
he did a lot of that. Now he's mainly touring and performance, but
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a
But
jazz
he does
cellist.
do that a lot too. Yeah,
Yeah.
jazz cellist mainly. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but Ian ended up moving out there at that time. And so now this is where John comes in, because right around the time that Ian had moved off to Brooklyn is when I started in Resistance Pro, which is when I met you.
I see how it all ties together.
Right.
Hmm.
So, and with that, we'll be right back after these messages. Because I need to take. We do, because I have to take a piss. So hang on.
Hey, I've enjoyed watching seeing your Instagram posts, John. You keep yourself really busy.
Anything to avoid 9 to 5, my friend.
Yeah, that's great, man. I mean, I really like it. It's like I'm seriously, I'm like every single day, I'm like, man, you're just, I mean, and the variety of what you're checking out too. It's all sorts of stuff, sports and entertainment stuff. That's great, man. That's really cool.
I appreciate it, and I follow your stuff as well.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I got to start posting music again. I've got this drum program I just bought last week. My brother's a great drummer, it's just tough to record drums when you don't have $10,000 of equipment. But yeah, I'm about to start recording stuff at home again. So not I since we linked up on Instagram, I haven't been posting music, but I'm soon to start doing that again, and need to record and release stuff, and I'm just about to start having a band again, all that. So I'm looking forward to it.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said start to have a band again?
Yeah, get a band
Cool.
going again. So yeah, do that. I took a extended break from all the band stuff, but time to get going again, So
Cool.
but no, I've enjoyed seeing it's nice when you see someone like being so active at what they do. It makes you go, man, I gotta get my ass in gear, Gotta
And
get
we're
my shit
back.
together.
Thank you for hanging in there with us. And
That was very Kramer like.
we're back with
Yeah, that was kind of skidded into the room,
We're back here with Ian Hoffman,
Yeah.
guest of the day here on the Johngy podcast. So Ian's off in Brooklyn, and John and I meet, and this is right around the time I start in Resistance Pro. So we're talking 2012 now.
Late 2012, early 2012.
Early 2012, because I had auditioned in the beginning of 2012, and then was on the first show in February. Or no, I'm sorry, March was my first show.
Your first show. Their first show was like November of 2011.
It was Black Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ian, welcome to the show. We're glad
Pleasure
to have you here. And so you're in Brooklyn around this time, 2012, and kind of tell us what you were doing out there and what your experience out there was like.
Well, I originally was doing kind of odd jobs for a friend, doing just like his warehouse managed, like inventorying all of his music stuff. He had made this move into a warehouse, and then I kind of went there just for like a temporary thing. And then one day, my brother's girlfriend said, "Hey, I got a friend who has a dog walking business." And I said, "Oh, okay, well, dog walking, like, is that really a real job?" I'd heard of it in passing, but she said, "Well, you can really make good money doing this, and it's cool to do it." And I said, "Okay." And then I got that job. And after looking at people biking through the insane streets of Brooklyn, going, "How do people do this?" Well, 3 days later, that was me. And so then for 4 straight years, just under 4 years, I was biking every day, all day through the streets, walking all day, walking dogs. And then I decided to start playing bass solely in bands, which I'd never done in my life. I always had my band that I would front, and then I started playing in tons of bands, more than I can even remember now. And so I did a lot of dog walking, a lot of playing in bands. And that was kind of the main two things I did. Met a lot of great people.
And
it was incredibly great 4 years.
yeah, you've always spoken very highly of it, and you sounded very happy when you were there and everything. The
Absolutely.
problem at this point is that Ian will attest to you, and John, I know you don't need any proving of this, but Ian can easily attest my love and devotion for the Smashing Pumpkins, and Billy Corgan and things like that. And so it was tough, to be honest, to be in that position where I was like doing shows with him, doing all these extracurricular things with him, and hanging out with him, and knowing him the way I did, and having the support I did from him, because I think you would attest that a lot of people felt like Billy was a fan of mine,
Yeah, a lot of people felt you were kind of Billy's boy.
Yeah, for better or for worse.
Wasn't really true.
Yeah, I mean,
it was true to a point, but not the way they
there's
said
a bad side that comes along with that too. But yeah, at some point there were people who felt like, yeah, you're Billy's guy, whatever. But here it is for me now. being the fan that I am and everything, I mean, Ian has also been a fan of the Smashing Pumpkins and everything and stuff. So it was killing me that like the guy, like like who he's in Brooklyn and everything, and I'm like, and he's not here right now. Like when
Yeah.
I could get him in front of this guy, I could get them to have a conversation, I could get them to meet and talk and stuff. It's like, Ian's a big fan of very specific songs and things
Yeah,
that he's
yeah. I'm more of a
projects and stuff.
I'm not it's not as much a Smashing Pumpkins fan as a fan of very specific Smashing Pumpkins songs.
Okay.
It's because I don't I mean, I am in that sense, because Tom knows. I have a list of songs that I absolutely love. Um
Like there's the
and then
song blank page, blank
Blank
pages.
Page I
I
love,
mean,
and
like
Once
that's
Upon a Time I
yeah, a
love
lot of
that song.
there's some songs
33
from
love that
Adore
song.
that especially, yeah, that are big to him and
Yeah,
everything. And
and
I know he would love the chance to, and so it
right.
was just killing me. And I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
sitting here and I'm like, I'm sitting right next to the guy right
Yeah.
now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, and I
Yeah,
can,
no, it was crazy that the timing it was perfect too. I mean, it was the exact time I was gone was the time it happened for sure. And then when I moved back was almost exactly when
when Billy
it
took
had
off.
ended.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So
but he has been to he's been to a Resistance show before,
multiple
and
ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's been to a
Yeah. At
few of
least
them,
three
and
or four. Yeah.
yeah, and he's certainly seen all the videos and stuff. So I mean,
Yeah. I enjoy
he's
them.
aware, but it's for me, it's always been a shame because I just
Yeah.
being one of the guys I love the most in the world, like it's too bad he couldn't be there for some of the things that happen
Hmm.
and stuff. But it was just circumstantial. What are you going to do? I know if he was here, there's
Oh, I
nothing
would have
that
been
would
at
have
them all.
stopped him. Um,
I was
and
telling people all about it when I
yeah,
was out
yeah,
in
no, he
Brooklyn. I
did.
mean,
He
I
was
told
very.
because back then it was kind of a crazy thing that took people off guard that
That
the
Billy was
Smashing
even doing
Pumpkins
anything
guy
with
had a
wrestling at
wrestling
all.
league.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
Yeah,
nowadays
people.
it's a little more like common
It's
knowledge.
no,
Yeah.
everyone's heard about it by now, but back then it was like, first of all, can you believe this? People are shocked, and then I could follow it up with, well, my best friend's one of the wrestlers for him too, and then it was like they just might as well just jump off a roof at that point. They can't handle it
Jump,
anymore.
just throw
Yeah,
yourself out the window. Yeah, it's the
I'm
only
done. Yeah, right.
appropriate
It's over.
reaction. Yeah.
No,
By the way,
no, you guys are right. It was like, I mean, even from my end, it was surreal. It's like, okay, I'm going to like, going into a meeting. Yeah, I'm going into a meeting with Billy Corgan. Like, how
right.
does
Oh
that
yeah,
happen?
I bet.
But
That's a
see,
huge name.
this is
Yeah.
where I was trying to get us to, where is there's like John knows me in a very specific time period, and
Sure.
you knew me before then, but you don't know me the way that he knows me during that time period. So it's like
Yeah.
between the two of you, we can fill in the gaps. This isn't just about having one of my closest friends on the show, but this is sort of an expose on me. Now, not to be, you know, a little pretentious or anything and make the show all about myself, but that's
But
what
it
it
does
is.
have your name in it.
But it is that's what it
Yeah.
is.
Hello.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Second.
just call
Third.
this. We're gonna call this episode. Yeah, Tommy.
Who else?
Who
Nobody
else?
else.
Yeah, nobody
Nobody else.
else.
There you
Nobody
go.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nobody else.
only me.
Nobody else.
Only me. Yeah.
Not
So
you, only me. Yeah.
now here's one of the things I wanted to discuss while I had both of you on this situation here. So
I'm ready.
okay, now there are times where I refer to things as Tom L's. Okay, so like for example, like when I play MLB the Show 22, and I'm working the Tom L's Cubs through their franchise. I call them the Tom L's the Tom L's Cubs, and then like John is just like, Tom, like where is that coming from? And like Ian couldn't even
Yes.
begin to manage bringing himself to call me Tommy,
Well,
one of my closest friends. But here's why: because that, first of all, is how he met me, and that's how
yeah.
he knew me, was Tom. And the reason for that is because growing up in grade school, junior high, and high school, all of the teachers, when you have that first day of school and they go
Yeah.
through the fucking roll call and everything, and they call your name, they take Thomas and they take it right down to Tom. And I
Yeah.
never wanted to be the guy who was like, no, call me Tommy. You know,
Right.
like,
Well, here,
so
I've got
okay,
some
go.
things.
No, yeah, go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
First of all, Tommy is not, that's the name you grow out of, not into. Tommy is a name.
But see, I
that
think with
you
my
have
personality, I'm not a Tom. I'm not like an insurance
I'm
salesman.
sorry.
I'm not
Tom,
a
you
real
don't
estate
have
agent.
a hat with a propeller on it with a
I will
slingshot
get one
in your
if
back
that's what I have
pocket.
to.
see,
If
I
that's what I
almost-
have to. If that's what I have to do to sell Tommy, I will get a
Yeah.
hat with a
I
propeller.
almost have
Yeah,
to take his side because one of my best friends is Louis, and I never call him Lou.
Yeah. Now I see now that is I hear you. I hear you. But it's
And
just
people call me
Tom.
Johngy, so I can't even begin to go into all that.
Yeah, well, no, but that's a little different. I mean, first of all, Johngy, I've never even that's a first.
Well,
So
that's at
I've
least
never heard
it's a
Johngy.
unique name. It's
That's
a
a
unique
unique name. Yeah.
sure.
So
Yeah.
that's a little different. Like, I just this Tommy thing, to me, it's just I don't even like I can't wrap my head around it. I've never really heard anyone call you Tommy. Because anyone I'm around, like my family, I'll call you Tom.
Yeah, that's true. But
Um,
that's what I went by all the way up until I graduated high school.
Right.
I mean, so
So-
for 18 years
Right.
at least, I was Tom, and so
So-
so I get it. And and I've talked to Ian about this before, but I was saying the other night to him,
yeah,
that, like,
we were talking.
even if he did call me Tommy,
If I called him Tommy, it would weird him out.
yeah, like, it would bug me. Like, I
It'd
wouldn't.
be
I don't
weird,
like.
yeah.
I don't want him to call me Tommy because
Yeah.
it's just
I
like
can relate to that.
he's called me.
Yeah.
He's called me Tom
The
for so
ship
long.
has sailed. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's like if he started calling me Tommy, I'd feel like it's forced. Because I've had other friends try to make that transition, and they've started calling me Tommy, and I'm just kind of like,
just go back
I'm
to
like,
Tom. Yeah.
I'm like, it's okay. I'm like, you don't have to do it for me. It's okay. It's like you're in a certain group of people that get away with that.
Yeah, you
stuff,
got
know?
grandfathered into Tom.
Yeah,
I can relate
yeah.
to that. It is compartmentalized. There's certain people I don't want to call me Johngy or Johnny. Like if
Yeah.
I'm dating a girl, I don't really want her to call me Johngy for whatever reason.
Yeah, sure.
I get that though, because that's kind of like your
It's a
general
gimmick.
name.
It's
Then you
more of a
want,
gimmick,
that's
yeah.
exactly. Then it's like call me, like that's like my friends call me this. You know,
It's
what I
like
mean?
it's
Kinda
like
thing.
you don't
You're
want
like-
Hulk Hogan doesn't want his girlfriend to call him Hulk Hogan all the time. You know,
right. Hey, Hulk
It's
Hogan,
like-
come here.
But yet some of my
Yes,
best
you
friends
know.
call me Johngy, including
Right.
you.
Well, there you go. I think yours is even more specific. Then you're getting down to like, a girlfriend. Then it's like very specific. It's like that name, the name John is just for her. Like then you're in the exclusive club.
That's
know,
that's true.
That's like the gold card member. Then it's like now
Good point. I like
you
that.
have to really earn the John name. Then
Yeah.
you're in. So.
Yeah.
up till then it's Johngy. Then you get the next level, but that's like ladies only, kind of thing.
But which does seem opposite though. Like you said, like
Yeah.
you would think that the more familiar you get, you would go with the nickname, but it's actually the opposite of this one.
Yeah, no, it was only in the last couple of years that I even realized I've heard people call him Tommy, and I'm like, what is with this Tommy thing? It's like it just sounds so weird to me. And then it's like I thought, oh, it's like, okay, so you kind of decided at one point, like, see, there's nothing you can do with Ian. That's it. I mean, it's three letters. There's no breathing room.
They can call you I.
They call me I, right? Or E. Like occasionally someone will say, "Hey, E."
E, sure.
But that's very rare.
Or
So
N. They just go with one of the three letters.
A-N,
It's I,
A-E,
A, or N. You know.
Right. I mean, the most exotic it gets is when someone mispronounces my name as Ian, which actually some people do go by Ian. So
Right.
if
Yeah.
someone says Ian, I'll go, I'll just roll with it.
Yeah.
If they want me to be Ian, then I'll be Ian for them. But that's about as crazy as it gets with my name. And I did notice today there's this woman that cleans the house for one of the people I walk dogs for, and I see her once a month. She's very sweet, very cute. Not that it matters. She's married. But
Good background.
but yeah. but she but I have now realized she thinks my name, it just changes. I think she's just taking stabs in the dark, because some weeks I think she says Mike, other weeks she says John, and which Ian does mean John in
Well,
medical
those
language,
are
but
kind of like, yeah, a little
Well,
distant
Ian,
from
isn't
each other,
Ian
though.
the like English derivative of John?
John, yes, it is. It is correct. Yeah, that is true. It is.
Man,
Very
this
good.
guy,
And
this guy.
so by calling me John, she's almost not wrong. But let's face it, she's wrong. It's because she's not thinking that when she says it. But I thought, I don't even know what her name is, so I can't remember. So I thought, at least she's trying, whereas I'm just like, hey, how are you? So and we'll talk for like 20 minutes sometimes. I'll get behind on my day just, shooting the shit with her. And now I realize she just I think she's just casting a line out each week and trying to see, like,
What
how's he
lands?
reacting to the
Yeah.
name this week. She was also a person that was convinced that I was selling and making cheese at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. Remember when I sent you that picture? Or she was like,
Yeah.
I swear it's you. And I just saw, and I'm like, this is just another generic dude with long hair and a huge beard. It was before I shaved that giant beard and
Yeah.
cut my hair. And I was like, granted, it looks a lot like me. I'll give you that. It was, but she was like, I'm like, yes, I have that secret life of being a
Yeah.
successful cheese maker, and then I
Yeah.
just walk dogs in
I just
terrible weather just for
don't want
fun.
to. Yeah. I
Yeah,
would rather
can't
not
let
talk
go.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the things I wanted to talk about and give credit to Ian for on this as well is that I would never have probably pursued music, and especially recording music, if it were not for Ian, because Ian was a
Cool.
natural musician from the day I met him. The guy could get on piano and just play some incredible things. But then he also had a 4 track, and he exposed me to like the ability to be able to record at home. And I went out and I got myself a 4 track, and I got myself a guitar, and I didn't know how to do anything with any of it, but I mean, like, I saw what he did and I was so inspired by it that that's the whole reason. Like, I mean, John, you've been to plenty of shows at North Sides and things like that when I played. Ian's even accompanied me there as well, and he's accompanied me on my birthday this last year as well. But I mean, I owe my musical experience firsthand to anything that I've either written or covered or recorded or anything like that. I would not have done that if it weren't for the influence of hearing Ian, because he made me see that a normal, regular, everyday person could actually record and make something good. Now, he has the benefit of a greater talent than I have, so he's able to put together some really awesome stuff, which makes it sound even better. But even still, just for whatever I can pull together, it's been done on account of the fact that I was inspired and impressed by the way that Ian had done stuff. He's had if you were on Spotify, you can see that he's got an EP on there, the Dome Swan. He also has an album on there that he did with his two brothers. It's called The Other, and it's called Needers and Givers is the band. And we'll put the music video for the single from Needers and Givers up on the YouTube page, so you can check that out as well. But in all sincerity and honesty, it's like I like to take opportunities like this to thank and tell people that, like, I wouldn't have all the guitars I have. I wouldn't be doing all the things that I've done with music, which it's not a lot, but what it is, would not have happened if it wasn't for this man here, Ian Hoffman.
Oh,
So,
thank you. You're giving me too much credit, but I appreciate it. It's really nice to hear. I
well, you
didn't realize
literally
you felt
gave me
that
my
way.
most recent guitar. I got a nice full body acoustic from Ian because he didn't need it anymore, and I was able to use that at my birthday party this year to play a song with Ian backing me up, and that was awesome. And
Yeah.
but I mean, like, even beyond just like the physical, like, here, try this out, and teaching me how to do this and that and stuff. He's just watching him do what he does has given me the thought of, like, well, if he can do it, maybe I can do at least half of what he's doing, and which is about what it's come out to. But it's still
Well,
it's
I
it's
say this
nice.
in all honesty. You entertain people. You're better than you give yourself credit for.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're downplaying yourself a
Yeah.
little bit here, Tom.
Well, either
You've
either
done a lot of
way,
good
I
stuff.
still hold Ian in very high regard as a musician, and he
Thank
comes
you.
from a big family of musicians too. His
Yeah,
father,
definitely.
so every one of his brothers,
My uncle, big time.
his uncle. Yes, we want to kind of tell people a little about your uncle Bob.
Yeah, my uncle Ed.
Ed, I'm sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
Ed Bob. See,
Yeah,
how,
he
this
played.
is
Yeah,
this is why I don't want
similar.
to be a Tom, because
Ian,
it's like
Ian,
you're just,
John. Yeah,
you're,
Ian, John, Mike. We
yeah.
just switch names. We're like shapeshifters. No, yeah, my uncle Ed played in the Baltimore Symphony for 35 years at least. He's retired now, but was a trumpet player in that for many years. So that was pretty major. It was fun, seeing him do that, and
Your
when
father,
being a
your father plays the drums.
yeah, plays the drums. He was
Um,
even on the Neaters and Givers CD. He hit a big like concert bass drum that was about
Oh, really? I didn't realize Skip was on
yeah,
there. Yeah.
it's a big 4 foot high giant bass drum on
Nice.
changer on that song.
Nice.
So right at the end uh bridge or chorus or whatever you want to call it,
And
he's
then and
hitting
then
this offbeat.
your brothers Bill and Dylan played drums primarily.
Drums, great drummers.
I think Dylan played bass too.
He was starting to pick up guitar
Oh,
near the end.
guitar, was
Yeah,
that what it
yeah.
was? Yeah.
It was pretty
And
cool.
then Chris is always been cello. I mean, like, I remember Chris
Yeah.
Chris Chris was always very intimidating to me. Like, like at 16 years old, he was only a couple of years older than us. But
Yeah.
like, he sat in his room with this cello very diligently
Yeah. And
playing.
he's a really good he plays guitar well, he plays bass well, he plays keyboards. Yeah, Chris is very
Oh, he's
multi
very talented. I've seen
and
uh
drums. He's played drums on some of my recordings as well. Yeah.
he at one point was doing some kind of live streams where he would, get a whole bunch of different instruments and start, like,
Yeah.
looping them and things like that and playing it, and yeah, he would be playing several different instruments, and
Yeah.
I was a big fan of it, and I didn't think it went on as long as it should have.
Yeah, he was
I've
enjoying it, but
I've
he
been
gave
very vocal about that. I
yeah.
miss those. I think those were cool. But
He was
he's a
having
very
fun.
talented. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was enjoying it, but I think just not having enough maybe he didn't feel he had enough viewers where he felt like there was a reason to keep going. I'm not sure. I can't speak for him, but I think he might have expressed that.
I can speak for him. I feel very validated in speaking for him. I feel qualified. I think he'd be more
You're not
Well,
even
you're more than
qualified to
me.
speak for yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good point. Yeah, I'm with Johngy
um
on this one.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, no, we had a lot of family background in music, and um, while I played piano from an early age, 4 or 5, then French horn, of course, but and trumpet. But then I started guitar at about 17, 18, which I taught myself. But then Dylan started playing drums around the same time. So then we kind of started playing those things together a little bit, So we were kind of getting into our rock band phase because originally I was going to college for film music, which then I immediately got out of the college mindset, so to speak, very quickly.
yeah.
And and then really got into the songwriting thing, which
The thing is that most film music musicians did not go to college for film music. You know what I mean? So it's like
sure, sure.
it's they went for other things, and just you either have that ability or you don't. And you know maybe you learn music theory or something like that. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's something that they just, those are very special people who
Well,
just,
the first and only guy that I met there that was also into film music has scored the new Coming to America and multiple movies. So that's what's funny is the only
yeah.
guy that I bonded with there is doing very well.
Well, that's
Jermaine
cool.
Stiegel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just coincidental that my one friend I made there in that uh is still a great friend and is doing quite well in that world. But yeah, he stuck it out, you know. But
Well,
yeah.
good for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, John, you have an opportunity here, my friend.
No,
You have an
this means he's gonna be.
opportunity.
I gotta come up with something that's in his.
You don't have to
twisted
come
mind.
up with something, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, look, you, I know, like to delve into trying to find out about my past or trying to find out more about what makes me tick. Here you have, I'm going to give you this person right here who could answer almost any question for you about me. This guy is my ride or die. Okay, I mean, like, if I'm having the worst day of my life, this is the guy who I call. All right, he knows. So, like, after I do a podcast with you and I'm thinking about jumping out the window, I
Well,
mean,
you should.
this is
Yeah, well, yeah. See, yeah, you're like
this is
Ian.
the
I don't
guy.
appreciate.
This is the guy I call to talk me off the
I
ledge.
know.
Okay, so
Ian, you won't believe how cool this Johngy guy is. I can't keep up with him.
Yeah, that's what I. Yeah, he's just like, man, I'm so intimidated. What do I do?
I
How do
wish I could be more
pull
like
through?
him, but alas, I'm just a Tom.
Yeah, well, he asked me for advice. He's like, can you watch the tapes and just write some dialogue for me, just some lines, or what can I? And
God
I
knows
told
he
him, I
needs
said,
help.
Tom,
Yeah.
you can't. You just, it's gone. You're outclassed. You're outmatched.
Smart man.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
but John, do you have any questions for this guy that
Well, I do. I want you to hear. You have to tell us something about Tommy or Tom that would surprise us, or that we would never guess, that we would never know.
Oh.
That would be interesting. I give you carte blanche on this. You go ahead and say whatever. I don't care.
Oh man, that's that
So
that
so
might be a
so
tough
mind you,
one.
John's only known me since like 2011. So I guess if you have anything before that, or maybe something outside of that, or I don't know.
Yeah. Hmm. That's tough right off the bat.
Way to go, John. You give
Something
him a,
that no, that's a great question.
yeah,
It's an incredibly good
but
question.
it's something
It's
that
just
he needs a little time to think about, though. You can't
well,
just throw something at him that he's
something
just.
that people don't know about Tom that I mean, there's just that is a difficult thing because Tom's a fairly open book,
Yeah.
and so it's tough to think about things where I'm like thinking about a couple things here and there. Then I'm like, well, Tom likes wearing footy pajamas, but do people really need to know that Tom
Yeah,
likes wearing footy
that's exactly what we need to
Yeah.
know.
I mean, Tom owns footy pajamas, and
Do
he's
they have the
excited
back?
about things like
Do
that.
they have the backdrop drawer thing too?
No,
No, they
but
don't.
Tom, but
But
he
I'd
has
be okay with it
specifically
if they
stated
did.
that he wanted those,
Yes.
and if they made them, he would get them. So it's good that you brought that up because that is something. Tom is the type of person who wants the trap door on footy pajamas, but doesn't have those specific pajamas.
No, you got to take the whole thing off or on. It's just, yeah, it says there's no gate.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the gate would be nice if I could just
Yeah,
unbutton it and
Tom. So
drop
I mean,
draw.
that's just a cast off one. I mean, there's that's just the
there's
tip of the
another. I don't want to
iceberg.
put words in your mouth, but there's another one I could think of that.
Yeah, please. I can elaborate on it. I'm sure.
Here, you
Well,
could say it, and Ian will move his lips. It'll sound like it's coming from him.
well,
Yeah, here we
Ian
go.
can confirm it at the very least. Is that I don't believe that women defecate. So,
This
um,
is true. I'm surprised you're just jumping right into that, but
yeah, no,
that's
I
a
don't,
public admittance, huh?
I think that I think it's a fable. I think it's false. I don't think it actually happens. And
So you know what my response would be? No shit.
No, good one.
So,
Sorry.
Good one.
see,
I,
Ian, you're not
this
the
is
only one because Ian's also a victim of my puns and my bad dad
yes, I
jokes
am.
on a regular basis via text, in person, what have you. I got this from my uncle. My uncle, it just, he really kicked it off with the whole 230 thing. Like he was talking
Oh,
about going to
I
the
know that
dentist,
joke
and
just
yeah,
makes me want to
and he
drill
was
into
like, I
my
had to
own
be there
molar.
at 2:30. And so I told Ian that joke, and when I saw how disgusted he was with the response, it whatever reason fueled me to find every possible joke like that and
Well, the
hit him
funny
with
thing
that.
is the last time you sent me just a reminder that that joke exists. Like that's the other thing is you'll send it to me occasionally as if I've forgotten that I hate that joke. But the craziest thing was the last time you sent it to me, I was actually at the dentist
oh,
and I had a 2:30 appointment.
whoa,
That's what blew my mind.
creepy.
Yes, I had my 6-month checkup. You sent me the joke, and hold on one second. My screensaver just turned on.
We still see it.
And okay, there we go. And I was like, I am at a 2:30 appointment at the dentist, and I
That's
was
weird.
like, this is a there's a ripple in time. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is, but get out of my head. Just get
Yeah.
out of my head. And I
No,
thought, I'm not going to tell my dentist this because he's probably then going to be like, this is
every
going to be
time, yeah, you
very
go there.
painful. And yeah,
Well, he had to have heard it too.
I'm sure. And I could just imagine him looking at me and being like, be professional, and
Yeah.
just don't make this any harder. My
And then
day's
he
been
drills
long.
you, literally.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure
Yeah.
he would have been like, okay, no
Take
more
it easy,
Novocaine
John.
for this
Yeah.
guy.
John.
Yeah, this is, let's show him what we do to people that talk like that. But
I want to ask.
yes,
I want to. We yeah. So I do hit him with a lot of these bad jokes,
not as
and
much lately. Not as
Better
much
him
lately.
than me.
I've been better.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no. Ian is a specific target. Yeah. No. I mean, and it's only because I know,
He gets
just
the
like
reaction
I
he
know the
wants. Yeah.
reaction I'm getting out of him. I do want to ask real quick, behind you on what I'm assuming is your right, it looks like you've got like a layout of a town or something. It's like the Maitland's
Oh yeah, that's a
thing.
painting. Yeah, my
Oh,
grandma. That's my some old painting of my grandma's that's in my room.
really? It looks,
Yeah.
yeah, because it looks like it's like the layout of a town. From what from what
It
I
is.
can
It
I
is.
see,
It's
it's
like
like it
the
looks like
four
a
seasons and
map type of thing. And
it
I'm
is.
thinking of
And
like it's the whole goddamn
damn
town,
town.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and the thing is that it was never finished, so there's like faceless people in it, so it's really creepy. So sometimes I'm looking at it and I'm like, ugh,
Have
it's
you
like this
have you ever
this
been
kid
tempted?
like with no face. What?
Have you ever been
Tempted to
tempted
finish.
to put the faces in? I mean,
No,
maybe.
because then my artistic ability is either it's very specific and disturbing. So it would be it's better for them to remain faceless. We'll just put it that way. Oh, hey
Okay.
Lily.
Yeah,
Lily Else, ladies and gentlemen.
Lily Else is making
Um,
another appearance on the podcast here.
yeah,
Um,
no,
so
I go ahead.
one of the other things I wanted to bring up is that when I was in high school, I had, you know, difficulties at home and what have you and stuff. And there were times when I spent a good hour or two talking with Ian's mother, Ruth. And she was always very good to me and very, motherly, as she was. Ian comes from a very large family. Do you want to break down the numbers? You had the total of four
Yeah,
boys.
it's
Yeah.
four boys and 5 total sisters.
Whoa.
So we got 9. Yeah, it goes Bill, Chris, Ian, Dylan, Julia, Claire, Anissa, Dakita, Amani. So
Wait. So were they separate like that? The 4 boys and then the girls?
yeah, it was. It did work out
That's
that way.
A
wild.
few
Yeah,
a few of
so all boys and then all girls. Yeah.
yeah, and a few of the girls were adopted, but
Adopted, yeah. And we were foster family
yeah,
growing up, so
there were
there's
other
a
kids
lot
kind
more
of coming,
kids.
coming in and
Wow.
out of there along the way and stuff. So
Yeah.
big family and everything.
Crazy. Everyone liked hanging out at the Hoffman house.
Yeah,
There
there was
kind of
always
like no rules. But actually, there were a lot of rules, but it was hard to enforce them.
right.
You know, they
It's
just
too
didn't
many
have the
people.
personnel
There was
to keep
not enough
things in line.
guards to keep all the inmates in
Yeah.
line. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But
We
even with all of that, his mom was always very good to me and was always someone who, sat and talked with me and helped me through, certain situations and things like that. And subsequently in my adult years, when it's come time for the holidays, say Thanksgiving and Christmas, I do find my way over to the Hoffman house.
yeah.
And last couple of years have stuck around for Thanksgiving dinner, but other years have been there at least to hang out for a few hours and then do so on Christmas as well. They've just been a family to me. They're a family to me. His entire family is just like, I love all of them very much, and I care for them very much. And it's it's like, you and I don't bring friends on the show just to bring friends on the show, but this is just, one of the things I like about this show is that we're able to take certain people and put them in front of everybody and say, hey, check this person out. I think they're awesome, and here's why. And Ian has been somebody who, like, in my darkest of darkest times, has been there for me. And when he has had his issues, he has come to me, and we just have a bond like that. And we have a creepy bond, which I know you'll attest to, Ian, where we will literally text each other almost verbatim the same exact thing at the same exact moment, or
absolutely.
say something at the same exact time. Like, we are so in sync with each other.
Yeah, the symbiotic nature.
It's like the twin thing or something.
Yeah.
It just,
well, I was just telling you how when we were talking about that the other day, at least once I can remember one specifically 100%, back when we had landlines, in our 20s. I went to call you one day and I picked up the phone and I was like, there's no dial tone. And you're like,
I had
"Hello,
called him at the
Ian?"
same exact
And he
moment.
had called me at the same second. No,
so when he picked up,
ring,
we
I
both picked up the phone,
right?
and didn't hear any
It
ringtones
was
or anything.
right.
But we were connected, and it was
we were
just
connected, and
yeah.
it was like, okay, enough's enough,
Yeah.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, we have you spend this much time with a friend that this is this close, and you do have we've had our ups, we've had our downs, no doubt about it.
For
but
sure.
but we've always come back from those downs, and those are in the past. I think that's we've weathered those.
Well,
parts,
we've had way
and
more. We've had way more ups than downs by far.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it doesn't even factor in at this point.
Exactly. So. And that was part of the growth process and friendship, and you grow from those. Exactly. And
I'm still trying to get out of all the downs with John. I'm waiting for that moment when things like take a turn.
Yeah, you're
and,
waiting.
They go up,
you're waiting to go. When's you guys are probably both waiting to go.
I mean, it's like
the friend part.
I mean,
right?
You and I, it was like every couple of years, a thing or two. But I mean, like, I've been like trying to dig myself out of this hole for like 10 years now. I'm like, I'm waiting for the payoff with this guy, but
I'm gonna let our listeners just cycle through that because they know the truth. I don't need to comment.
Exactly.
No, you don't need to talk about how you've been.
They have hours of archive proof of Tom just verbally abusing Johngy.
Thank you.
I hear it all the time. I see it all the time.
The problem is everybody I know is, oh, Tommy's such a nice guy. Tommy's
right.
and I want to throw up.
Yeah,
I know
you're like,
Tommy.
just tune. Have you heard the podcast? You know, sometimes it just starts out. It's like someone throwing something at someone's head to get their attention. Like, hey, you, hey, asshole,
Exactly.
All
what's
right.
wrong? Yeah, yeah.
All right. You keep talking. I'm going to take one more leak, and then
Oh,
we're going
for
to
the
come
love
back.
of God.
And then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about one more thing before we wrap this up. All right. So you
Okay,
two have
okay.
about like a minute. All right.
Does he have a kidney like a walnut? Come
Well,
on.
yeah, I don't know. It's like a camel that finally just said it's time to drain the humps. You know, like
I've had 3 bottles of water, a large
yeah.
fountain Coke, and my second can of Coke, and I haven't left.
You're doing good, right? Yeah, yeah.
See what I got to deal with
It's
this guy?
yeah, no. It's just
Well, you
it's
know, I
tough.
mean, geez.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've seen the podcast. I watch him, and I'm like, this Johngy, he's just taking it like a champ. You know, it's the banter is heavily weighted against him. You know, Tom's the greatest guy on earth. Tom's the best guy to ever to walk the face. And then it's like behind closed doors. And I'm like, the doors aren't even closed. I'm like, they're open and they're online. I mean, when are people gonna open
And if
their
I have to
eyes
hear about
this?
this committee again,
The committee. I mean,
amazing
hey,
that he's the only one that gets to hear from the committee. I never hear.
yeah, you never know. You don't. Yeah. Hey, listen, he's keeping you. You know, he's keeping you away from the committee. You know, there's a reason for this. You
I'm
know,
starting to think there really isn't a committee.
there may not be. You know, I think he might be gaslighting you there. You know,
Oh shit, he's back.
Tom, you just went for the. You see that look on your face. This is the same Tom that when he made wrestling characters on this video game, he would make these characters, Johngy. He would and it was this wrestling game where you could make custom characters on the Xbox or whatever. And Tom would make these just patronizing versions of people that were terrible renditions. He'd pick a song out that was and then he'd have them over like, I'm going to unveil your character. They were just hideously offensive to this person.
You know, this
and
is what
Tom
we need here.
Yeah, and Tom would sit there and with this big smile on his face, have some people over and just publicly humiliate the guy and be like, "Isn't that great?"
It was
And-
great.
and-
though. It was great.
Or how about the time when we were cleaning carpets for well, we won't name him, but we were cleaning carpets for Oliver, we'll say his first name. We went to this lady's house to clean the carpets, and we knew the guy from high school. We go, oh, that's Oliver.
I knew him
And we're
from
like,
elementary school.
from elementary school.
Yeah.
Right. And so Tom's like looking at the pictures and he goes, oh, so you're his grandma. And she's like, no, I'm his mom. And Tom goes, Tom's reaction is to burst out laughing. And no apology, no nothing. Tom just bursts out laughing and goes, oh, and then just walks out of the room and leaves me with the check, and I'm like, Tom, you're just great here,
No, so I go in there and I see this, and she's an old lady, right? I mean, and so I see
let's say she aged less gracefully.
Okay,
yes.
well, whatever. I mean,
to your credit,
we were still in our early 20s. We were like early to mid 20s at this point.
We were early mid 20s, yeah.
So
we were early,
I mean,
22, right,
yeah. Something like
20s.
that. And like I walk in and I see my friend Oliver's picture on there, and he had been in the military, so there's a military photo, and there's a couple other photos of him and stuff like that. And I waited until the end, thank God. But when we were leaving, and I was like, so you're, like I saw the pictures, you're Oliver's grandmother. And she's like, no, I'm his mother. And
she was pissed. She was pissed.
You could see in her eyes. You could see
in her
she
eyes.
Said
thanks a lot. No,
she
said it right out there.
So instead of trying to save and going, oh no, and I meant mother.
And then
he just laughed. He just laughed.
See, people,
and
this
walked
is the
out of
sign
the room.
that I want people to see.
Right. And he laughed and walked out of the room. And then I sat there with the clipboard
having to bill her for the whole thing.
Right. And then hoping we could get a tip for some lunch.
That was fun.
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. And I'm like, well, so anyway, the total is $98. And suddenly, suddenly the price isn't so hot to her anymore. Then it's like, hold on, I feel like my level's getting a little loud here. And then suddenly the price isn't so great to her anymore. And then I'm like, I just want to get this over. And lo and behold,
And
I
think I'm sitting in the truck already.
Oh
at
no,
this
I was
point.
just
yeah,
gonna
like
say, I get back.
I'm long
I get-
gone. Like I took
get
off.
out.
Yeah.
You're sitting there with your legs up in the truck.
I'm laughing. I'm just like
Oh, yeah.
I just
Oh, and I'm laughing when I get out there. But I'm just like,
not in the moment though. Yeah.
right, not in the moment, because I'm like, okay, so I feel like I'm peaking on my level here again. Am I getting a little loud?
You
guys?
sound fine,
You
John.
sound
I
fine.
sound all right. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I just get out and you're laughing your ass off, and I'm like, thank you. I'm laughing too, but I'm like, thanks for just leaving me to take the bullet, though. By the way, it's like punching a bear in the back of the head and going, "See you later, Ian." I'll be in the camper, but yeah, no, that was a good one, but
I feel your
yeah.
pain, my friend.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you do. And Tom will, occasionally call me up and be like, yeah, so this happened, and I just told this person this, and they were pissed, and you're like, I don't get it. I'm like, you basically told the person to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
You acknowledge this fact, and then you
yet
say,
I don't
understand
understand what the problem is.
You're stating the problem, acknowledging the problem, and then going, but I don't get it, and it's like, well, yeah, really,
I think you and I need to go out for pizza one night and leave Tommy either.
Yeah,
both at home, and we could just compare notes.
Leave them both.
We can just compare some notes, right? No, I mean, and don't get me started with the drive-throughs. That's Tom's.
Well,
forte,
why don't you explain the drive-throughs as long?
Well,
as
the drive-throughs are interesting because Tom's not
okay.
rude
Now,
with the
first of all,
drive-thru.
this is a long time ago, but
Well, let him tell the story.
Yeah.
okay.
So
I'm just prefacing it a little
Tom
bit. Okay, go
this
ahead.
is a long time ago. That's true. We haven't been at a drive-through window. I can't even think of the last time. It's been a decade.
But there was a
minimum,
time where it was like almost a nightly thing.
Yeah, we're in high school. We're hitting up Taco Bell. Yeah, Tom.
He also has a problem with the way I say Taco Bell. He thinks that I put the emphasis on the wrong part. I say
well, it's
taco.
like you're attacking the word. Yeah.
I like I'm attacking taco and just following up with Bell. So it's Taco Bell, taco salad.
It's just a little, it's just a little emphasis there.
All right, so tell the drive-through story then.
So it's just a subtle story, it's not too outrageous, but it's just like this. There's this thing I would notice at drive-throughs. Tom's very polite to any wait staff, anything like that. That is fine. But everything would be great. We're ordering, let's get this, 2 giant Mountain Dews, a couple burritos, some gorditas, whatever. And then the person would make that mistake at the end of the order and ask Tom, do you want to add some cinnamon crispas? Do you want to add this? And then the other side of Tom would come out where he would just get this. I'm going to back away a little bit. You just get this, no. And he would just yell, no. Like as if they had said like, can I put my hands down your pants? I mean, it was just like, and it was just this thing where like, and I'd always look at him and be like, geez, Tom. I'm like, they're going to spit in our food now. And he'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm just saying no. And I'm like, no, you didn't say no. You shouted no. And and you were like, I just said no. And I'm like, no, you're just, it sounded like, they just told you to,
Well, my whole thing is that like I know it's hard for them to hear sometimes when you're yelling.
Well, they heard you just fine the entire time. You didn't shout your order. I would like to have 3 Mountain Dews and this and this.
I like this. We're unraveling the real Tom.
Yeah. Right.
Let the
Right.
record
No,
See, now you're
show.
gonna get Johngy
yeah.
calling me Tom. That's gonna be the new thing now. This guy's gonna do
Well,
this just to get at me
once a
now.
Tom, always a Tom. That should
My
be the name of
father
your
is Tom. My father
autobiography.
is Tom.
Well,
Sure,
you
sure.
called yourself Tom in front of me the one time. I
Well,
was like,
no, well, like I
Tom.
said, like I'm playing MLB. Those are the Tom Else Cubs playing that year. And
Yeah,
if I'm going
yeah.
to give you an update
Well,
on how the Tom
see,
Else
you've
Cubs are
got the
doing,
duality
I bring
going.
that up. But I
Yeah.
mean, but it's
Well,
again
just like the
like
duality at a drive-through window. I mean, don't ask Tom if he wants fries with that. If he
I think he's got
doesn't,
a split personality.
there's a bit of one, and it comes through at a Taco Bell drive-through. If they want to add something on and Tom doesn't want it, you are going to get a very loud
I'm being very
no,
clear. I'm not.
no.
I don't think I'm being
Yeah,
impolite.
Yeah, Dr.
I
Jekyll
mean,
and Mr.
I
Tom.
didn't say like
yeah,
fuck no or fuck
totally.
you. I was just
Well, yeah,
like
that's
no.
true. No, no, it's true though. You're
Yeah,
not
but if you
intending to
bellow
be
it,
rude. Yeah. I mean, and it's just like I always sit there and I would be like, Tom, and I'm always worried about it. I was
Well,
very
you're
high
at least in
strung
the
back then.
passenger seat most of the time. So I mean,
Yeah,
like
I
you,
was.
but
Your
he still
guide.
can get spit in his food.
Yeah, right,
true,
right. And I'm just like but I was
true.
also in Tom's defense, I was very, very high strung back then.
No,
And
you don't
I
have to
was
defend Tommy.
I was constantly worried. But I still felt that Tom it was so consistent and I would just wait for it. I was cringing.
So there's a
Kind of
pattern
like
of behavior here, is what
yeah,
we're
very
saying.
this pattern of loud no's. Now, like
Yeah.
that could be a
No.
chapter in Tom's book.
Yes.
The pattern.
No.
No. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was. Yeah.
yeah,
It
when they're
was.
asking those questions at the end. You want extra napkins? Yes. Do you want some hot sauce? No. Do you want to add anything else? No.
But
And
you
it's
got to
like, well,
admit,
pull
like
her
by the
out.
time I got to the window, I mean, I was always nothing but pleasant with them. I
No,
mean,
it's
Yeah,
like,
true.
here's some
Yeah.
phlegm
they'd
on your
hand me the
burger.
food, and I'd be
Thanks.
like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks a lot."
exactly. Here, we
Yeah.
added a little something extra in there.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Take this. Hope you enjoy that
Yeah,
extra
learn some
phlegm in your
Special
manners. Yeah,
sauce.
fucking burger. Yeah,
Well,
it's
Tom was
like,
a wheeler and dealer at Denny's, though. I'll say that. I
oh,
mean,
oh
we
man,
had one summer where apparently Tom just took the term here. You can use this credit card occasionally to blank check summer. I mean, that was the summer of
okay,
I mean, amazing,
all right.
amazing.
So here's the story behind this. Okay, so I was living with my grandmother in Elmhurst at the time. My grandmother in Elmhurst didn't make a lot of money, and my grandmother in Boston had enough money to help fund my existence while I was staying with my grandmother for the summer. So she had sent me a gold MasterCard, and so which had like a $10,000 limit on it or something like that. Which I guess at the
It's a
time,
lot of Denny's meals.
which at the time I guess I assumed meant that she could afford $10,000. So I bought video games, I bought dinners, I took people to the movies, I put everything on this card. But we went to Denny's on more than a few occasions, and one night I thought, you know what? I may never have this opportunity again. I'm gonna tip this waitress $100. And when I did, Ian and the other people there were almost disgusted with me because they were just like, they're like, why? Why are you doing?
I was not impressed. I felt like
To this
you know
day, let
what?
me just say, to this day, I have yet to tip anybody else $100. I had one opportunity to do it. I did it. I have not had that opportunity.
And that was $119.98.
But just because you have an
Oh
opportunity
yeah, that
to
was
do
the tip on
something-
top of like a fairly like a meal for like 4 or 5 people too. I mean, like it was, but I mean, still, I mean, it was.
Well, no, and I'm saying in '98 too.
In '98, yeah, $100 in
means
'98
more
is
than it does
definitely
now.
more than absolutely for sure, yeah.
But just because you have the opportunity doesn't mean
Right.
you should.
Right. That was my point back then. I was like, Tom, I was like, no. I was
Well,
like, there's
I will say that my grandmother, when she saw this, was not pleased.
I would guess.
And was not happy about it. But all I can say in retrospect is that I've yet to have been able to do it since, and I'm sure that it made that waitress's night. So,
Or she thought you were really creepy.
well, it's not like I put my number on there or anything like that. I just
And she thought you were creepy and dumb.
Right. Creepy.
He didn't even have the
like
smarts to
both.
put his phone number on here. He just
Right,
fucking up
right,
the
right.
money.
She's
Yeah,
like,
fucking dumbass.
yeah, what an idiot. I mean, I'm not gonna complain about Tom treating me to dinner multiple times that summer. I mean, we and we went to Denny's. Like we had all these options, but it was Denny's. You know, we get the
Denny's is
Superbird.
solid. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, no, me too. If you're gonna go with Denny's,
well, it was that time in our age where it was like you go to Denny's. Yeah, you go to Denny's in the middle of the night and stuff. I mean, Ian and I, like
it's a great place after drinking.
Yeah, well, one of the things.
Well, and we'd be, or I would be. I back then. I mean, I don't anymore, but back then I would be stoned and smoking weed and be like Denny's, and you could smoke cigarettes in there still. And I'd be like, I'd have my cigarette and, big glass of, Pepsi and.
Well, on those nights
huge burger.
On those nights in high school when Ian and I would be out late all night, I mean, part of it was us walking through parks and part of it was us just sitting at Denny's for a few hours.
Exactly.
And eating shit and stuff. But you would see like a bunch of other kids from high school there too, though. I mean, it's like everybody was there in the middle of the night. And
it was a cool. It's a cool time that those Denny's existed, and when you see people get nostalgic about it, we were a part of that. Now our community wasn't as joined up when we were there, but we were just kind of like the little.
We were an offshoot, the other people were more. The other people were more in a very big clique, and we just happened to be there too. But we still knew them and got along with them really well.
Exactly. We were all good with each other, but we were just kind of the two cameos.
But Ian and I kind of kept to ourselves or whatever, and basically just tried not to like giggle ourselves into some sort of embarrassing situation,
which was tough to do because we spent many hours in that Kashgarian truck unable to get out to go to a customer's door because of some inhumanly idiotic thing that we were laughing so hard about.
We would like some joke would come out right before we walked out of the truck to go up.
Well, there were times where we would exit the truck and then go back into the truck.
Yes, there were times where we actually had to go in there just to get it out before we would get to the door.
And then we were like, if the customer was sitting there in the living room, they were probably like, what in the hell are those guys doing? They've left the truck, took 2 steps, and then went back in, did it again, went back in. And I mean, we were like, and then that would make us laugh. So then that was another 3 minutes in the truck, just covering our heads,
Yeah.
And then sometimes it would be like, okay, one of us goes to the door.
Yeah.
We can't do it
and
together.
then the other one will have to follow in a few minutes later.
Right. And
the only way we're going to get through this. I mean, like, we're just having to make plans to get through this.
Well, dude, there's times where we can't even get up your elevator.
And that was another thing I was going to say. That's another thing I was going to say is like, there's times where it's just Ian and I get in the elevator. Somebody comes in. And it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter what they look like or what they are. It just like it's a silent moment, and Ian and I just like if we make eye contact, we are doomed. One of us is going to start laughing. So we are both looking in completely opposite directions and holding our breath and biting our cheeks and squeezing our fingernails into our hands. Anything until this person gets off of the fucking elevator. And then it's like as soon as the door closes, which I'm sure they can still hear us, we then lose it and we just are laughing our asses off. I mean, and there's no
literally over
reason behind any of this at all. There's nothing. We are not laughing at the person. It is simply because somebody else is in the elevator with us. That is all it takes for us to just absolutely lose our shit. It is just ridiculous.
Complete stupidity.
It is just
Well, I love that one night in the summer when you first had that place in Elmhurst,
Yeah.
and that we were walking, we were just
Oh yeah.
walking that night, doing nothing like we always did. And we went through the York High School parking lot, and there was a couple cops hanging out, and they were like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" We're like, "Yeah, we're just walking around." And they were kind of like, "Oh, okay, like, but what?"
They were a
And we're
little
like,
suspect,
"Nothing."
but I mean, like, we
Right.
were honestly just
We
walking
were doing
around. Like,
nothing.
we
We
weren't
weren't
doing anything
Yeah,
wrong,
we
you
weren't
know?
drunk. We had nothing on us. And so they were like,
We
"Okay." And they're
might
like,
have been we might have been high. We might have
"Oh,
been high.
we were stoned for
But
sure.
I mean,
Absolutely." But
but
we
other
didn't
than
have any weed on us,
no, no,
so
no.
we were
Other than
good.
that,
Yeah.
we were clean. We were just, and all we were doing was walking through the just the back part
Yeah,
of that
we
place.
were
Yeah.
just enjoying the summer night, taking walks. I mean,
Yeah.
I've always been I that was just, we were big on just taking walks instead of just sitting around inside the whole night. We enjoy the night, which is something I always liked that we did. And so they were like, "Okay, well, they're like, technically you shouldn't be walking through school property." And they were like, "We don't care, just, get back out to the street." So we get back out to the street, and then, we're sitting there just being idiots. And then I'm sitting there like singing some weird song, and then
Well, you start kind of beatboxing or something like
beatboxing,
that.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then it's like Tom does this thing which I
I
call
start like,
the
yeah, I
cane
like start
dance, where
doing
it's
like
almost
this
like Tom has
dance.
a cane,
Yeah.
where he kind of like walks with like this cane. And it's the
Yeah.
Tom, like the Dan Aykroyd cane dance is what I call it. And so it's so Tom's sitting there grooving along. What is
And
that?
he's
St.
beat.
Charles.
Yeah, we're on
Right.
St.
And I'm
Charles Road
beatboxing this
in
dance, and I'm
Elmhurst.
kind of grooving. So
He's
then suddenly
beatboxing.
another cop drives by and just lights
He,
on
Oh,
you
Yui,
turn
screeches to a
and
halt.
turns
And,
around and comes
and
back
like,
for
as if
us.
somehow just being a jackass is like an offense in Elmhurst. Like, what's the reason to pull over for that? Like, two guys are
Well, I
acting
think
like
it was the
morons. Yeah.
inebriation thing. I think
Right,
they
right,
probably
right.
assumed one of us was if
Right,
not
because I
both, were
guess we
inebriated.
did look like complete idiots, but he's like, "Okay, guys, what's going on?" And we're like, "We just dealt with two
And we were,
cops
yeah,
right down the block."
yeah, we're like, we
Yeah,
just talked to two cops away, and not to mention, we
yeah,
were like 50 feet away from my front door of my building too.
right,
Like
right. We're
we were
almost
almost
home,
home.
right?
We were so close to
Yeah,
being home, and this
right,
cop just pulls this Yui, turns on
right,
the lights, and comes over, and now he's questioning us and everything.
right. And
But
then
I
he
mean,
calls
what
down
was
the
I gonna
police.
do? Because I was
Yeah,
like just jiving down
yeah,
the street,
it
you
was
know. I'm just
awesome.
like,
It was my favorite Tom dance of all. Yeah, it's the cane dance. It's I've seen you do that at school dances. It's just it's the ultimate Tom dance.
So
It's
one
my
more
favorite.
quick story, and then we'll wrap this up
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
So there
totally.
was a time where Ian and I were in the car, and we used to just go for drives in the middle of the night and just listen to music and talk and whatever and stuff. And I remember one night we got on, I think, Roosevelt Road, and we were just headed east, or no, west. I'm sorry. So we're heading out towards,
I
like,
know where this is going.
DeKalb. So we're heading out there, and we've been drinking like, Pepsi, Coke, orange, whatever,
Root beer, yeah,
root
yeah.
beer. Yeah, like just
Really
so
living it up.
we're driving. Yeah, I mean, like, we're drinking just tons of soda. I mean, like, totally sober, just drinking soda, talking, listening to music, whatever, driving down, and this cop pulls us over. All right. Now their initial claim was is that my light over my license plate was out, and that was why they were pulling us over. Then they start putting their flashlights in the car, and they're like, "Well, what's with all the cans?" and we're like, "Well, they're all
Wow.
soda cans."
Soda cans. Yeah, we're like,
And they look at them, and they eventually realize they are soda cans, and like, okay, well, where are you going? And the honest answer is like, we had no destination.
yeah, we
We
don't
were
know.
just killing time.
We don't know.
We just said, let's just go west and drive, and then eventually we'll turn around and come home. I'm like,
Yeah.
and we told them, we were like, I don't know, we're just
Yeah,
going
we
this
did
way.
that. I did that.
Yeah, we're like, we're
Yeah.
just
Right?
going
Yeah.
we're going this way. And like, if they needed us to, we could have done a breathalyzer. I mean, like, when we were perfectly fine. And the cops just could not wrap their head around it. Like,
Yeah.
we were sitting
They
there
were
telling,
not
they're like,
comfortable with that answer.
no, they were like, where are you going? We're like, this way, forward, and
There.
and then eventually we'll
Towards
turn
the
around and we'll
horizon.
go that way. I'm like, that's it. So, and they just like they could not let it go. And but
No,
eventually they they had nothing, so they let us go or whatever. But I mean, like that's what we used to do. I mean, like it was just we would
No, we did,
drive.
man. We used to drive from when I lived on the south side of Chicago. We used to drive downtown just to see action. We didn't get out or anything. We
right,
just drove down and looked around and
right.
drove home.
And that's the thing is like I feel like in the city it's you're not sticking out as much. It's like we were almost in DeKalb at this point.
Yeah.
So and for these cops, I felt like, do you not understand that like people just cruise? Like, because yeah, Johngy, you're right. It's like this is not this radical concept.
When I
Like
was a kid, when I was very young, like on Sunday mornings, that was a thing. Like my mom and dad and I would get in a car and we would go for a drive.
yeah, Sunday drive,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did
that
that.
phrase
It was
exists for a
just it was
reason.
like you didn't go anywhere particular or stop
You just got out
anywhere.
of the
You
Right,
just
house and
went out and
drove.
you drove around,
Yeah.
right, right.
and that's what Ian and I did. And but these cops just could not wrap their head around it and everything. And
No.
we and but I mean, and we were a little, I don't know. I I don't want to say arrogant or whatever, but I mean like
Oh, we
Well,
were.
you're kids.
we knew we were so in the clear. We knew we had
Yeah.
done nothing
We were
wrong.
gonna have a little fun with it.
We were
Yeah.
just driving and literally drinking soda and listening to music and talking, and that was all there was to it. So there was like they had nothing on us. So we're just
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah. No, we
but
were we were good to go. And I mean, I even it's sometimes you just that was a right. There was a rare instance where it was like, okay, you guys have nothing. Right off the bat, we were like, hey, what's going on? And once they had the flashlights in the car, and then it was like, okay, now we're gonna be little punks about this
yeah,
because
like
you know
so what do you think of all those cans in the back there?
right.
We got some
There's soda.
squirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some ginger
Where are you
ale.
going? We don't know.
We
There's
don't
like
know.
other ways to answer that, but we decided to go
It
the
was the
jerk
honest
off
answer,
way.
though.
It is the honest answer,
it was just
right?
like we
But
don't know. I mean, when we feel like we got
couldn't
to
tell
turn
you.
around, we'll turn around. I mean, we
Right.
got to go back eventually. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. We're not going to go all the way around the planet back to
Right.
where we started. So I mean, we can tell you that much. Okay, so
Yeah.
there's your answer. No, that
Well,
was a
all
good one.
right. Let's call it for the night there. I mean,
Cool.
I could go on for a long time talking with you, obviously, but I appreciate everything that you've offered to the show and come on in the first place and everything.
Of course,
It's been
thanks for having me.
a very long time coming, but
Absolutely.
I'm glad to have you on. You are always welcome on. We can have you on again, and we can talk even more
I would
about
love to.
other stuff. So,
Ian,
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
see you next time, I'm giving you a big man hug because
Oh, yeah.
we both need it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Well, I'm
Um,
glad you guys
it
have
was-
bonded somehow over this
Yes, no, and
situation here.
I it's been nice to talk to you, John. Yeah, I've kind of vicariously seen your goings ons and enjoyed these podcasts and stuff. So it's really nice to talk to you.
Well, and I've heard a ton about you, so it's cool to finally
Yeah,
get
yeah.
to experience you.
No, it's been nice, and I would love to do this again. I think we kind of got going, and it'd be
Yeah,
nice to
there's
do
still
another
a
one
lot.
where we
There's
can,
a whole lot
Well,
of
there's a lot
other
more to
stuff
unpack.
to unfold
yeah,
there.
yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, no, I would love to.
Ian, is there any social media outlets you would like to share with anybody before we go, or?
I mean, not currently. You can check out Neaters and Givers. It's an old album, but
Yeah, so Neaters and
you'll
Givers
share
on
those links.
Spotify, and then
Right,
there's
right.
you have your EP Dome Swan
Yeah,
is also
another old release, 10 years old at this point,
yeah.
but
Well,
Hoffman Dome
Ian
Swan.
Ian
Good.
has about 1 million songs that he has not released that I think he should,
This is
and
true.
this is a whole nother episode in itself. But
Sure.
he's an extremely talented musician and has been since the day I met him. And I definitely recommend checking his stuff out. I will post the video of the single from Neaters and Givers on our YouTube page, so check that out. And yeah, thank you again, Ian, for coming on.
Thank you
And
very much.
I love you. You're my brother.
Love
And
you too, my man.
Ian
Genuinely.
was at my brother's wedding. I spend my Thanksgiving and Christmases with him and his family. I mean, he truly is a brother, and his family are truly a family to me. So
Right back at you.
I'm very blessed to have them in my life, and I appreciate you, and I thank
Well,
you.
and blessed is the original word. It was the first word that came to mind with the I am very blank about having knowing Tom Else or whatever that thing was. So that was
Yeah.
the very
Well,
first
we couldn't
word.
start off with that.
Yeah, exactly. That was the thing. Is you just can't. That was what I came to the conclusion of. Is I can't start out with saying that, but that's the genuine word I think of. But
Well,
yeah,
back
thanks
at
a
you,
lot,
man.
guys.
All right.
Thank you,
Love you,
buddy.
man.
Yeah,
All
love you
right.
too, and I'll
Take
see
care.
you
We'll
soon.
talk soon, buddy. So there you go, Ian Hoffman, one of my oldest and longest friends.
We've learned a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to just bring a friend on just to bring a friend on. I think
Eyes will be opened.
I just think it gives some perspective, like when you had Jason Flegel on, like Flegel, sorry. We got to learn a little more about John and who you are and everything. But I mean, Ian definitely knows me in a whole different light, and you guys kind of had some years where like you knew me when he didn't, you know what I mean, because he was in Brooklyn and you were here while all the R Pro stuff was happening, and I was telling him about it and everything, but you were actually here for it. So we can kind of, between the two of you, fill in those gaps and bridge all that stuff and everything. But you also seem to get on well with each other, since you want to apparently get together and talk trash about me
Well,
behind my back. So
it's funny because we were talking about names, all that. Jason, if Jason started calling me John, I would not understand it, because Jason's only known me as Johngy.
yeah.
But now Louis
Yeah,
kind
no,
of
there's
Louis.
it's like, I prefer Tommy 98% of the time, but there's a very few select people that, like, if Ian called me Tom, or if he called me Tommy, that would be weird. Like, I only expect Tom from him. I get Tom, Mr. Tom, I get things like that. So I mean, like, that's and I've got a bunch of other friends that still, from high school and whatever, that are, throw me in the Tom category and everything, and it's fine. It's just, it is what it is. But anybody like post 20 or post 1998, most of them know me as Tommy. So, but
So I have a quick story about Ian/John.
okay.
And it's a petty story of mine. I was dating a woman, and she allegedly, yes, cheated on me, and we broke up. She married this other guy. Hated him because he was a toad, and they had a baby. They named him Ian, and I knew that Ian is the derivative of John. So he came in, and I worked with her, and he comes in the office one day, and he was always
So that's why you knew what that was. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's always giving me the death stare when he picked her up. And one time I walked up, I go, what the F is your problem? He goes, oh, I don't have a problem. It's just blah, blah, blah. And I go, well, you named your son after me.
Ooh.
And he goes, well, what do you mean? I go, look it up, dumbass.
Take it easy. This
Oh,
guy,
it was good. It was one of my
guy with
proud
the
moments.
low blow. This guy's a low blow. Well, anyway,
I was still bitter and hurting. You
I
gotta,
understand. I understand. I'm guilty of far worse. It's fine. I understand. So yeah, anyway, big thanks again to Ian for coming on the show.
That was a lot of fun.
I really enjoyed having him on there, and I could do multiple episodes with him, because I know there's just a whole lot of stories that we could tell.
I think we need to have a pizza night off camera to hear more good stories.
The best of the best. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he's, I'm sure, capable of hooking that up. So but definitely, if you're on Spotify, check out Neaters and Givers. The album is called The Other. You can also find him under Ian Hoffman, and find his EP Dome Swan, which is a solo effort on his part. So check that stuff out. He's got so much more music that he just has not released, but you can find him on YouTube as well. I don't have his YouTube handle off the top of my head.
We'll get it and pop it.
I would just look up Ian Hoffman, and or Ian Hoffman music, I think might be what it is, but we'll find it out and we'll put it up on the YouTube video so you can see that there. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, check us out on YouTube and definitely subscribe so that you can get information and other bonuses like that on that channel. So, John, if somebody was to want to find out what you thought about Ian Hoffman from this episode and wanted to reach out to you on social media, where, for the love of God, would they find you?
They can find me at Johngy's Beat, pretty much anywhere. Website, YouTube, whatever. Just look up Johngy's Beat, you'll find me. Even the Pro Wrestling Tees store, where you can find the Johngy or Else podcast t-shirts, along with Johngy's Beat t-shirts. And you can find us on Spotify. If you look up Johngy or Else, you'll find us. If you look up Johngy, you'll find me. But where could they find the Tom?
Well, while you did mention the T, Pro Wrestling Tees, we also have hoodies available. So it is wintertime, and if you want to stay warm and be fashionable and show what your favorite podcast is, you can get yourself the Johngy or Else podcast hoodie in the Johngy Beat store.
And again, wait like a week or so till Christmas time, because they are going to have a sale.
They'll have a sale. Just go to the Johngy's Beat store, scroll down past all the Johngy's Beat stuff, and get to the Johngy or Else podcast wear, and you'll be able to find that stuff. And you can find me personally on the gram at Tommy_else. You can find me on the Twit at Tommy_else. And as John mentioned before, there is the Johngy or Else podcast page on the Tube, on the book, and on the Spot, where you can get the audio. And of course the T, which we mentioned. So I think that's all of the socials right there. Again, you can check out our guest today, Ian Hoffman, fantastic musician, lead vocals on everything you're hearing on these recordings. Check out Neaters and Givers is the band. The album is called The Other. Holy Rollers is a personal favorite of mine, song wise, so check that out. Digging is the music video, and we're going to put that up there on the YouTube page. Dome Swan is under his name. Ian Hoffman is just a solo project, so check that out. And yeah, there it is. So for the Johngy or Else podcast, I of course have been who else but Tommy Ellison. With me as always is the man on the beat from johngysbeat.com, Mr. John Robleski.